Chad's with deep, going deep. Chad and JT.
What's up, Stokers of Stoke Nation? This is Chad Kroger coming in with the Going Deep with Chad and JT podcast with my compadre, JT. What up?
What up, dogs?
How you living, dude?
I'm doing well, man. Feeling good.
So you crushing some of those Bantam bagels?
Yeah, I had 4.
What flavors?
Food increases brain activity.
Hell yeah.
My brain is active. I just get the plain ones. The everything ones, the cream cheese has like chives in it or something, which
Really?
isn't bad, but it's not exactly what I was looking for this morning.
Dude, that always grinds my gears when you just want like the plain stuff, but they always throw in a little ingredient in there. You're like, dude, you just wrecked it with your chive bullshit.
Dude, a major issue I have with South America is that they put like sugar in their ketchup, like a little bit more than we have here.
Yeah.
And so when you taste it, it has kind of like a sweet flavor to it.
Yeah.
I just don't like any variation on ketchup. I just like straight Heinz. But a lot of these places, they, you know, some of these fancy burger places like Plan Check in LA, like they try to put like some different twists on it, and you're like, ketchup's good, dude.
Dude, I have that major beef with like froyo places that overcomplicate the flavors, specifically Pinkberry. You know, they go, oh, this is like mood nut chocolate. I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Why don't you just go chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, cookies and cream, and some other bullshit? You know?
Yeah, and adding mood into the title for ice cream, it just doesn't seem like the place to. Just doesn't feel accurate or applicable.
Yeah.
I
don't think mood applies to dairy.
Yeah.
Right?
Sad milk.
Yeah.
Happy cheese.
I love happy cows.
Oh, yeah.
Happy cows are dank.
Yeah, cows are funny animals, man. They're
Yeah.
big. Like, it looks like if they ever... Cows are like the big kid in your high school class who, like, was actually scared of, like, everybody and, like, wouldn't fight anybody.
Yeah.
Like, he was like... And you were like, hey, Bobby, if you could just, like, channel all that size...
Yeah.
You could, like, run shit.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm not like that. And you're like, damn, dude.
Dude, I knew some of those guys. I remember this one guy in my fraternity, Bo. He's a beast, man. One of my favorite guys. Just, like, jolly. And he's, like, 6'7" or whatever. But he would just get hammered. I remember one time he got so hammered, it was, like, Father's weekend, so all the dads were out. And he just got blacked out, pissed his pants. And we're just walking around with pee in his pants.
With his dad?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was awesome.
It's great. Did his dad know he pissed his pants?
I think he was kind of proud because he partied so hard.
One time we went out for a bachelor party, and my friend Kyle got so wrecked, and he was like throwing up in the car ride home, and we brought him back to his parents' house, and he was like, hey man, don't let my dad see me drunk. He's gonna fucking kill me. My dad's gonna hate me if he sees me drunk. And his dad was in the room while he was saying this, and his dad was like, I love you, Kyle. Like, affirming him that it wasn't bad. And Kyle was like, no, he hates me. And his dad was like, no, Kyle, I love you. And he was like, please don't let my dad see me like this. And his dad was like, it's fine. I love you. And kept on.
He didn't realize the whole time.
He, like, kind of would notice for moments, but he was, like, deeply ashamed, and he thought he was going to, like, dishonor his dad. And so when he was talking about it before we saw his dad, he's like, you can't let my dad see you. We're like, dude, we have to take you home.
Yeah.
I was like, man, his dad must be a real a-hole.
Yeah.
And his dad was, like, the sweetest man in the world. His dad was like, Kyle, no matter what you do, I'll always love you. And Kyle was like, no, I fucked up. And his dad was like, no, you didn't. And then Kyle was like, I'm an idiot. I was like, no, you're smart. And just kept, like, affirming him. But then his dad turned to me and he's like, so you guys got pretty hammered tonight, huh? And I was like, Kyle's the only one who drank. But I was just fucking with him.
What?
Yeah.
Kyle.
Yeah, and then his dad was like, what?
If his dad was a true soldier, he would have gotten as hammered as his son.
Yeah, and then the dad was like, just so you don't feel bad, Kyle, I'm going to chug a bottle of Smirnoff so we can be the same.
Yeah. They'd be ashamed together.
They could both boke in the same toilet.
Our guest is here, so.
Oh, really? Already?
Yeah. So, Stokers, we have a guest with us today. Troy Casey, Instagram certified health nut. He's a big health wellness guy, guru, and we just thought it'd be cool to have you in, and we just discuss health, fitness, all that kind of stuff. And so, what up, Kate? What up, Troy? How are you doing?
Well, it's great to be here. Thanks a lot for having me on. I really appreciate it.
off the bat, you've brought some stuff with you. What do we got?
So this is Hape. It's from the Amazon rainforest. This particular blend is from the shamans of Colombia.
My mom's Colombian, so I'm Colombian.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Medellin.
Okay, great. Yeah, there's a lot of tribes down there. And so this is basically plants that are grown in the Amazon rainforest, and each one has its own little attribute. And so they take some of the seeds from the Amazon as well, and they grind them up in a mortar and pestle, and they grind it up into dust as they pray over it.
Wow.
And so it's utilized with this applicator / pipe, whatever you want to call it, and it goes up the nose into the nasal passages, and it literally blows the mind. And ultimately, it connects the right and left hemisphere of the brain, and it sharpens the mind. It also, tobacco's a shaman's tool. It's a shaman's ally that clears negative spirits. And so they use it for hunting and for clarity, and when they're out in the wild.
So what other kind of, beyond the tobacco, what other kind of like drug components does it have? Like what phylum of drugs does it fall under?
Well, some of the plants have DMT in it, but the DMT isn't activated.
So you're not going to hallucinate when you take it?
No, but each person has their own healing experience, and depending on where you're at, it has the ability to purge the system. So it cleanses out the nasal passageways, the lymph, any kind of stagnation, parasites, fungus that basically lives in our
Wow.
It sounds exciting, but like super intense.
It does sound intense.
Have you taken some today?
Yes, I do. I do a little bit every morning in my prayers and meditations, and so it really gets the mind very sharp. And so it's extremely powerful. It's not child's play, but it's a tool, and I think it's a great tool for people in the modern world because people are spinning out a little bit.
I totally feel that. Yeah, I mean, I'm like a ball of anxiety and neuroses. So like for the
this will be great for you, bro.
for the listeners, he's got 5 like kind of simple vials that have a brown silver powder that's been finely broken down, and then he has a long wood pipe that kind of looks like a flute. So you want us to do that right now?
I think to give this podcast another dimension on it, for sure.
Oh, man.
Fuck, dude.
Well, I'm pretty stoked. Do you think I'll just increase my stoke levels?
I think you'll have a very powerful experience, and it'll blow your mind, and then we can get into some deeper subjects. So this one is...
We like to go deep.
Good. Awesome. So this one is a matcha type plant.
I've heard of that.
It actually smells like matcha.
Yeah.
And so this is more mild. This one has canela in it, and canela is like the cinnamon plant down there. So another plant that's antibacterial, antimicrobial, and it's lighter on the tobacco. And then this one right here is a little heavier on the tobacco, a little more powerful, and this one's kind of in between. This one has 0 tobacco in it. It's just the greens.
So maybe before we do the DMT stuff, not to oversimplify it, but like maybe we get more into like your personal biography, so we can find out how you got to this place where you're an expert in this field.
Yes.
So where are you from?
I grew up in San Francisco, California. I was born in Connecticut. My parents were hippies, so for the Summer of Love in 1967, they went out to San Francisco for the Summer of Love, and we stayed there for quite a few years. We lived in the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco, and so I'm a true hippie.
Yeah, you were in the belly of like the spiritual revolution that was happening in that time.
And the psychedelic revolution.
Right.
Nice.
And so kind of the personal freedom, kind of free sex, free everything, free thought. And I think that was the first revolution that we had in that. And I think we're going through the second right now. Some say it's the same time period. And the 50th anniversary of the Summer of Love was last year.
Oh,
So
for
were
sure.
most of your friends and their parents like kind of in the same headspace?
Pretty much. My parents, their friends, they were instrumental. They lived in Marin County, and then they moved up to Mendocino, and they were instrumental in ushering in the whole Sensimelia movement.
What's that?
Sensimelia is just seedless marijuana, and so that happened in the early 80s when they hybrided the marijuana, and then they started growing the cash crops up in Mendocino and Humboldt counties. And some of their friends got busted by the FBI, and then my stepfather started dealing blonde Lebanese hash on the East Coast, and he got popped by the FBI when I was about 14, and so and then they got in some trouble, and my dad escaped the country and lived in exile in the UK, and he's still there actually.
Has he ever come back?
No. He's afraid of losing his freedom.
So do you go to visit him?
Occasionally, yes, I do. I spend a lot of time in the UK, and so I go over there and teach quite a bit. And so I was in Wales, England, and Scotland. 2015, 2016, I went on a kind of health revival tour, and I work with a lot of holistic health practitioners and health professionals and sports fitness professionals. And
so growing up, did you ever have like you knew right away that your parents were into that stuff? They didn't hide it from you?
Well, I mean, it wasn't just complete chaos in my house. And yeah, my dad did keep it under wraps to a certain degree, but we were kids, man. We were we were into his room and stealing pot and hash from him, and all
you
sorts
can't
of
really
stuff.
hide.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't too much you can hide from a teenage group of kids. I had two other brothers, and so we were pretty well aware of it. And one day my dad went out, and my little brother told me that he hadn't been back. He'd been gone all morning, and we were a little bit worried about him. And when I came home later that night, he came back, and he was out on bond, and he got in a lot of trouble. And within two months, he left the country.
Wow.
He was facing 5 to 35 years at a time when all the coke and other things were coming through Miami, basically. And the wild story is
That's
that
where my family was.
Oh, Miami, yeah. Yeah, he had some friends that went down there. He went to a predominantly Jewish high school. One went down with his parents and found drops, missed boat drops, and he started dealing cocaine and marijuana. And my dad connected with him and was getting some product from him. But there was another guy that went to Israel for vacation or whatever, and he met a guy from the PLO, and this is before Al Qaeda and
The
ISIS
Palestinian Liberation
organization. Exactly. And the guy, he met him at a coffee bar, and he's like, "Look, pull a boat off the coast of New England, and we'll fill it with blonde Lebanese hash." And hash was pretty rare back then.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of product that he was putting on the street, and the feds and the mafia is going to want their cut, and so he got popped, and then he skipped the country. But my brother had gone up to this guy's house. I think he was up in New Hampshire or Vermont, and it was a basement full of these kilo bricks of blonde Lebanese hash, and it was really good hash. And so that was 1981.
How old were you
Wow.
when your dad had to leave?
I was 15.
What was that like? So 1 second your dad's there, and then the next second he's got to race away from the feds. How did you process that?
Well, I was always a bit of a nomad. I mean, I remember walking the street alone as a 5-year-old in Haight-Ashbury, and so I was a bit of a nomad, and I was a real firecracker. I was hell on wheels, basically. And so I'd been running away from home for the previous year and living on my own in abandoned houses, and there was this one church I used to sneak into as well. And so when he got busted, I got to tell you, for me, it was like, oh, a new adventure, And my parents sent me out to San Francisco with some of their old Haight-Ashbury friends, and that was the end of my family. And I stayed with them, and I ended up getting in my own problems and incarcerated as a youth, and I got caught with drugs, and I think I got caught with a bunch of mushrooms, and I got busted for a sheet of acid, and I I was looking at being put away for the rest of the summer, and I was a kid. Luckily I got busted before I was 18.
Yeah.
And so at one point I actually escaped juvenile hall, and they caught me 3 states away in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And they put me back in, and I spent the whole summer, and I spent the last 4.5 months before I was 18. They let me out when I was 18. So so I've been on my own since I was 14, and I really enjoyed the ride. I liked being on my own. You know, I think that there's probably some emotional trauma and some emotional deep feelings from being abandoned or whatever little story.
From having those like disruptions in your life.
Yeah, you know, but there was another side of me that really enjoyed, you know, Manifest Destiny and going out there and just being my own man and dancing to the beat of my own drum. And of course there's a price to pay with that when you're living outside of the boundaries of society and you're putting, you know, LSD on the market. And one of my girlfriend's fathers told him some cousin or nephew was around, and he told the dad, you know, hey, Troy's got a sheet of acid, and he called the cops. And one of my friends tried to warn me, and I didn't really understand it. But next thing you know, the undercover cop lights were behind my car.
Oh, shit!
And I got popped and thrown in juvenile hall. And
how long?
I was in there for minus my escape, so I was out for about 2 weeks.
You broke out of juvenile hall?
Yes, I went to court, and I saw another one of my friends there. I lived in Northern California, and everybody was into hot rods, and my friend had stolen his mother's Corvette and was out blowing donuts in it, so he got a bunch of tickets. And I saw him in court the same day, and I'm like, hey, Kenny, can I sleep over your house? and he goes to his mom, hey, Mom, can Troy sleep over the house? And she's like, sure, Kenny. You know, she was kind of oblivious to the whole aspect. And so I started looking both ways, and my PO,
parole officer
was he wasn't around. I think he was dealing with the judge or the DA at the time. And I just walked out a door and around the facility and up on a fire road, and I got away, man. I was surprised I got away. And then I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and she was bragging to her mother, because I guess I was a little bit of trouble in the parents' eyes, and she was bragging to the mother, oh, well, he's gone, you know, he's on a bus, he's going to go back to the East Coast or whatever. And so she called the cops, and you know, this was Greyhound bus back in the day. And so when I got off the bus in Cheyenne, Wyoming, there was a whole bunch of cops.
Oh, they were waiting?
Shit. They were waiting for me.
Did you just walk right up to them, or did you try to run?
I mean, they were standing out in front of the bus, so you know, there was really nowhere to go, and they were kind of looking for me.
You're such a individual, like, you know, in terms of like how you live your life. Like, you seem like the worst possible person to be incarcerated, in terms of like, I mean, you know, it's bad for everybody, but like, what was that like for you to be someone who's like a nomad, like you say, to be stuck in a cell?
Well, freedom is, you know, the number one thing to me, freedom. And so being incarcerated sucked, especially as a kid in Marin County. And I could see the mountains behind me, and, you know, I didn't have access to them. And so, but I think I was gifted with some intelligence, and I had some really good teachers, so I communicated with them. And I started reading Dostoevsky and all the great classics that I missed in high school. And I did a bunch of book reports, and I just did a lot of research, and I built my vocabulary, and I just took the time to really build myself. It's also the same time that I started lifting weights. So, you know, I was a 17-year-old, and you start pumping weights when you're living in prison and eating food. And it was Marin County, so we actually had good food, you know? And so, you know, I got yoked quick. And
you made the best of it.
I made the best of it, you know. You get these cards that are dealt, and I think, you know, God's spirit, you know, angels, whatever you want to call it, guardian angel, something was looking out for me, because if I had gotten busted when I was 18, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
And so
Would have been like harder time with harder dudes.
yeah, and with my attitude, I don't like to take shit from people, and so that would have been, it would have just been a different road. And so the incarceration taught me to respect my freedom, and just really respect my freedom.
So you get out, and then what's next?
So I actually, because I did all the work while I was in juvenile hall, I had enough credits to graduate, and my principal, who had kicked me out of school a couple of times, he laughed at me, and he goes, "Oh, what are you, 20 and you need like 60 credits?" And I said, "No, I just turned 18, and I need 15 credits, which was 3 classes."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Show me a transcript," and he let me back in. And that was one of the, my senior year in high school. It was one of the best times of my life, and I really enjoyed the freedom. I had tasted what it felt like to, be incarcerated, and so. I really enjoyed my last year in high school, and then I put myself through college, and that was another great experience. And I treated college, I wanted to learn, so I really absorbed what was ever
Where'd you go?
put in front of me. I went to Indian Valley College in Marin County,
Mm-hmm.
and so I didn't really know what I was doing, and I heard you could transfer, and then I knew that there were certain requirements, and so I went to College of Marin and Indian Valley College, and then I transferred down to Mesa, and I was kind of on I didn't have a lot of requirements like calculus and algebra, so I had to go through 4 or 5 semesters just of mathematics, plus getting all my general education. And so by the time I went down to San Diego, I think I had already had 3 years, in community college. And so somebody said I should start modeling, and actually quite a few people mentioned that, and I started taking pictures.
Did you know you were a good-looking guy?
It's funny. I don't think that. I try to have a grounded ego. I grew up on the street. You don't want to get too high on your own supply, or somebody's going to pull your card.
Mm-hmm.
So being a dick wasn't my thing, and I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm so good looking, and people put that impression on me,
Mm-hmm.
but people kept on saying, hey, you should be a model. Hey, you should be a model. So I finally took some pictures, and Miami had blown up at the time, and they thought San Diego was going to be the same thing, because before the internet, German catalogs and places that weren't open on the weekends and weren't open like the American malls, etc. People would buy stuff online on catalog, on catalog, not online, and so these German catalogs, they set up in Miami where it was warm in the wintertime, and they would shoot, and they did the same. They thought that San Diego was going to be another place to come and shoot, and so some of the big agencies from Los Angeles opened up down there, and they were doing scouting, and I went in and met them, and they took me on, and I started taking pictures. Then I moved to Los Angeles, and then I got a contract in Milan, and I moved to Milan.
Oh, sweet. How long did you live there?
I lived in Milan on and off for about 2 years when I first started my career.
Cool.
That's how I got into nutrition. I used to bloat and hold a bunch of water, and that doesn't work for a modeling career, because the fabulous agents are like, "Oh, honey, you're fat." What? I mean, I didn't do anything else besides go out and have some beer and pizza last night.
Yeah.
And so I started studying nutrition right off the bat, and I got into herbs and juicing, and came back to the United States and applied it, and did my first 10-day juice fast, and I instantly noticed incredible results. And so that was the beginning of my natural health background, and that started in about 1989.
Oh, wow.
Did you find that people like were kind of impressed, or like found you more interesting because of your background, like in the modeling industry? Or was it just like the looks were what mattered? Because I feel like that personal biography would be like enticing to people, especially people from LA who are so into story and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't always get to share my story. You know, people aren't necessarily, maybe they are more interested in your genetics and your looks than you know, your history. People didn't really get to know you, and so it was just you know, being a genetic specimen that's okay for media. And so I never really got into that with my agents. I never really got that close to them. And there's tons of dysfunction in that industry, so emotional dysfunction. And
How
I think
so?
like attracts like. I think there's a lot of sexual abuse and emotional abuse from people's childhood, and they get into that industry because it's very easy to get into. I watched young people from 15 and younger start becoming an assistant to a booker, and next thing you know, they're head booker for an agency, and so without a lot of resume. And so, and I saw that as a through line. And one of the things that really pissed me off about the industry, or I just didn't like, was kind of the gatekeepers, you know. And I was, I don't suck dick, and I don't kiss ass, and so, and that's a certain energy that I hold, you know. I don't let people push me around, and so I only got so far. But the good thing is my go-getter, street smart spirit got me 4 Versace campaigns. So I was able to write my own ticket. And then I was able to go to Tokyo and make a lot of money with my Versace campaigns. And so, you know, and I did all sorts of stuff. I even dealt drugs and ecstasy and stuff when I was over there just to survive, because most people don't realize just because you get a contract or you know, you've got some good work behind you, that doesn't mean you're always making money. And so I was living in Europe, and I just knew how to hustle. And so I did whatever it took to survive and do good in the career.
Were you dating at the time too?
I had a girlfriend at the time, and she was in California, and she would travel with me sometimes. She lived with me in Italy, and so at the time, you know, I wasn't into monogamy either, so I was, you know, sleeping with plenty of, you know, hot model chicks and having a good time like any red-blooded, you know, mid-20-year-old guy. And so I really enjoyed myself, and so
Nice.
I had a couple model girlfriends as well, but I was also partying at that time. You know, it took me years later to start sobering up and living a different lifestyle. I got into drugs and alcohol pretty hardcore. It's free in that industry, and they like you in the nightclubs, partying the night away, and it's part of the scene. You know, they let the models in, and then they charge everyone else, you know, a lot of money for drinks and entry fee. So I had the time of my life. It was awesome, but after a while, my body, you know,
Could beat you up.
couldn't take it anymore, you know, and I wanted a different aspect of life, and all my friends said that I was wasting my potential, and so
That's cool.
So you come out of the drug and the alcohol and just like the craziness of the industry, and then that kind of like galvanized you to get into like personal health and to kind of discover this new path.
Yeah, so the trajectory went like this. So I started studying nutrition in 1989, and even though I was burning the candle at both ends, partying, I knew how to tune myself up. I knew how to eat good food. I liked juicing. You get a lot of nutrition out of fresh squeezed juice, and so and I liked fasting. It helped me optimize my body for my career in front of the camera, to look and feel my best.
Yeah.
You know, really feel my best, because when I'm out of balance, some of my childhood trauma and shit can come up. You know, my edge can come up. So my objective for, you know, the last 15, 20 years is really to keep myself balanced, healthy, feeling good, looking good. And so,
What does it look like when your edge manifests itself?
well, I'll just get, you know, I get angry and I say shit that I don't mean, and I fight with people and
Physically or
cause
just
arguments. No, not physically. You know, I gave that up years ago, and yeah, I've got a temper, you know, and
Me too.
it can snap at a second's notice, and so the bane of my existence for the last 20 years has really been to heal my own inner wounds, my own inner trauma. A lot of the work I did in the Amazon with ayahuasca was just really letting go of my ideas of abandonment. That's why I realized it was just like, it's not so much abandonment. I liked being on my own. I liked being a nomad. I liked being my own person and not having anyone tell me what to do. And so so I was able to let a bunch of that stuff go and just whatever stories we tell ourselves. And so, and really being more understanding and accepting of myself and other people. So in 1999, I moved to Los Angeles to start an acting career, and I knew I couldn't do it as a party animal. And so I tried to sober up for a couple of years in and out of AA, and then I found Vipassana meditation, and I started studying meditation with S.N. Goenka, and he has these 10-day courses of meditation in silence. And I sat my first course, and it was mind-blowing. And so, and I practiced that pretty religiously, a couple hours a day for 6 years, and I sat 11 courses in silence. And so,
Dude,
that revolutionized my consciousness. And then
what's that like when because I've heard people who do like the 3-day silent retreats, and they're like the second day you just cry, like you just like, because I guess we're so used to just like diffusing what we're feeling by jibber jabbering about anything.
Correct.
That when you actually have to just sit with it, like after a while, and really like confront just like who you are and the isolation that's kind of inherent in being a human being, that it just like breaks you, not in a bad way, but like you're just like,
oh yeah, it breaks you.
Yeah.
Well, you realize, oh, I'm holding on to this. So you can either let go of it or it can continue to harm you. And so I say this, you sit a Vipassana course, it's like truckloads, tractor trailer truckloads of emotional weight just comes off of you and you feel completely free.
So are you, what did you do yesterday? Like, I'd just like to hear what your whole day was.
So normally in the morning I wake up and I do breath work. So a lot of my own anxiety or, thoughts that I have, I think we all have this in the modern world. If you talk to the Taoist masters, they'll say that the chemical toxicity that's pervasive in our world, the stress, the electromagnetic frequencies, radiation that we're dealing with, the cell phones, the static electricity, etc., is creating chaos at the atomic level. So it's very important for me to stay balanced. So first thing in the morning, I do 90 conscious breaths with some breath retention. So ancient pranayama, ancient yoga stuff. It's been popularized by Wim Hof right now. So I like to do 90 conscious breaths. I do a little bit of stomach massage. We have our second and third chakra, our power chakra, which is just below our solar plexus, and so I like to get in there and massage and get the energy going up there, because we have our brain material goes through our vagus nerve down into our stomach. It's where our innate intelligence is, and so I like to make sure that the nerve supply is all open up there. And so I do some deep breathing work, some Taoist massage on my stomach, and then I jump in a cold shower, and then I'll do anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes of meditation. I'll have usually hydrate in the morning. I've been intermittent fasting for about 30 years, either with juice or with water. I supplement with some pre-digested vegan amino acids to make sure that there's no muscle wasting. And yeah, I usually hydrate in the morning, and then I'll either go out, and I'm in a muscle building phase for the last 8 months right now. So I'll either go to Gold's Gym in Venice, and then I'll come home. I'll usually eat anywhere starting from 1 o'clock in the afternoon or so. Sometimes I go till 3, 4, or 5. I'll have my meal at night. I usually go to the beach every day. I usually spend a lot of time with my children. I figured I had them. No sense farming them out to nannies.
Yeah.
And so,
How old are they?
they're 7 and 11.
Cool.
And they're really cool kids. And I've taken them both to the Amazon rainforest.
Wow.
And they travel all over the world with me. We just got back from the Grand Canyon, and we did Mammoth. We did the full suspension mountain bikes off the gondola and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They're really cool kids.
Are they in regular school?
No. Fuck no.
What kind of schooling are they getting?
So they're in Waldorf, which is Rudolf Steiner. So they're
know
getting a
Waldorf.
Steiner education. So it's all
What is that?
It's all brain-based development.
I just have friends who went there. I don't know it's brain-based development.
So it's they treat the child as a spiritual being coming into the physical plane, and so and they don't teach them reading. So the imagination part of the brain develops until you're 11 years old. If you start cramming it with linguistics, mathematics,
You're kind of putting a box on it.
yeah, you stick them into the left hemisphere of their brain, and the right hemisphere of their brain, creativity, free thinking, art, creativity, if you will, it gets stunted. And so problem solving skills. So they're taught how to think, not what to think. Makes the paradigm shift. We're going through a paradigm shift right now from the industrial age, materialistic, into a paradigm shift where we all know and all realize that we're all connected, and we stop shitting in the environment, or what I like to say, pooping in our proverbial spoon and shoving it in our mouth and acting like everything's fine.
Yeah.
So are you married?
I was married. I made it 10 and a half years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
I think on your website you can see the birth of your one of your children, right?
yes, I had my first child in my living room in water, and so yeah, and I think that's pretty cool. And so, not that medicine isn't handy. Emergency medicine is excellent. My daughter was born at Ronald Reagan UCLA, and she was premature, and she was in the NICU for 5 days, and I think it was essential, and I'm grateful for emergency medicine. But my son was born in water, and it was fine. They were both vaginal births as well, and so
Are you dating now?
I am. I'm a little fucked up with the dating scene, man.
It's tough, dude.
Things have changed, man.
How do you go about it?
Well, I've always met women at the health food store. At least they're minded about taking care of themselves a little bit better, and their consciousness isn't all just about boob jobs and bling this and Ferrari that and gold digging this and et cetera. And I see a ton of that now because I went on the dating apps as well. I'm building my Instagram on dating apps. It's actually really good.
Yeah.
So I just put my Instagram account there, and I get a lot of followers. And I've definitely connected with a lot of women. So what's confusing for me is the amount of plastic surgery, and that is just weird in itself. And the level of baggage that people have with not being okay with aging or getting older. So that's kind of in my age group, the 50s or the 40s, et cetera. And then I see this whole sugar daddy, prostitution thing happening if you're dealing with the younger girls. Mm-hmm. And so that's weird to me. I like to connect with people on a soul level.
But that's not the majority of people on there, right? That's like
No, that's the majority. It's a weird thing. So I'm contemplating celibacy right now, but I'm not giving it so much attention. I'm not actively looking to date women right now.
Celibacy for like a temporary period or just
temporary period. I like women. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I like women. I like sex. I think sex is a way to
nut.
What's that? I think sex is a way to spirituality. I study Tantra and I study sexual Kung Fu.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very valid application, and I think there should be more high level sex teachings.
Yeah.
So how do you practice this Tantra? How does one, like, what's the beginner's, how would you get into it? Is it sort of, you do like yoga poses, or is it sort of like a mental meditation kind of thing? How do you?
Well, yoga is one part of it. Yoga, the etymology of yoga just means union, and so or yoke, like oxen yoke, and so it means the union of body and mind.
Yeah.
And so that is background of that word. And so if you're connecting your body to your mind, any of those practices are yoga. And so if you want to have incredible sex, then it's probably a good idea to get your apparatus, your human apparatus, functioning optimally. Your breath, the strength and vitality of the body, that's going to come in from your nutrition, your sleep, managing your stress levels, your physical strength, maybe some form of exercise or stretching, getting the energy that's flowing through the universe to flow through your vessel in an unimpeded way as much as possible. And you can do tongue locks and all sorts of other sexual techniques while you're in intercourse. And so you're going to want somebody that's got good breath and good vaginal hygiene, and also the opposite's the truth for the man. And so you want to make sure that you're clean, you're energetic, you have the ability to enjoy the tantra type elements. So instead of ejaculating, channeling that energy up the spine and through the organs, up the spine and through the organs, and actually in an infinity cycle through their spine and through their organs, and up your spine and through your organs, and continuous. That's your vitality. And you got about 5,000 ejaculations, and once that's over, you're dead. So, and that's your life force energy.
I think I hit that at 13.
I think I hit it last week. You have to build some form of relationship that's beneficial for both you and her, and hopefully you can get together and have a longer term relationship. Otherwise, if you're just fucking people, I don't think it has a strong base.
It can hurt each other too. Like feelings get hurt. And,
man.
Yeah. And then it can, like if you hurt somebody's feelings, then it hurts your feelings because you feel like you're contributing negatively to somebody else's life.
Yeah, it's called quantum entanglement, where you're entangled with their emotional body. I think there is all sorts of ideas that each person has in their head about the way things should or should not be. And when that doesn't match up with you or them, people run away. Maybe you like a girl a little bit more and they run away. And then you don't like a girl and you run away and they don't like that. So there's this push and pull, this attraction element that we're dealing with. That's why when you have sexual energy with someone, when you consummate, when you fornicate with somebody else, you're going to entangle yourself with their emotional body. And energetically, you are entwined. And so you get to deal with their expectations. And even if you meet their expectations in your mind, I'm being attentive to this person, and attentive to this person's needs. Maybe they're needy and they want more, try and suck it out of you. And then that becomes like a saran wrap wet blanket situation, and you want to get it off of you. And the more you run, the more they run after you. Yeah. And so there's all these little psychological and energetic games that we get to play with each other. And this is part of our soul's journey. And we get to realize, hey, do I want to have sex with this person? Is it a good idea? It's not just a porn movie where I just shoot my load. I've actually got to deal with this person. Here, I'll say this. With great power becomes great responsibility.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Spider-Man says that?
It's in the first one, yeah. Starring Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah.
We got to do some Hoppe, guys.
Oh, yeah. He got it.
Yeah. All right, let's get into to our of the weeks. So if you want to, we're just gonna say what our beef, legend, and babe of the week is. You'll figure it out as we go.
Okay, great.
Chad, who is your legend of the week?
My legend of the week is my sister-in-law's brother, Zach B.
What's up?
Zach B. He's studying pre-med at Vanderbilt, and the guy's just a legend. I think he's always been a solid brother-in-law to my brother. And, he lives in New Orleans. They're from New Orleans. And we always just have a killer time. Just the coolest kid. He wants to get into sports therapy. So he's really I think he works with the Vanderbilt football team. And every time I see him, he's always stoked. He's always happy. And I love his energy. I love his vibe. He's a fun guy to party with. And I think he also earned Legend of the Week this week because he just landed a big redfish on a fishing trip down in the Gulf, and I'm super stoked for him.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I think he was stoked on that. I saw the photo. He was amped. Now I'm amped for him, and that's why he's my Legend of the Week.
Nice.
So what up, Zach?
Right on. So my legend this week are my kids. They're phenomenal. I do the Wim Hof Ice Baths, and yesterday we were. They've been watching me get in them for a while, and yesterday my son decided it was time for him to get in there, and he went in there and handled it like a champ. Well, he only did about 30 seconds, but it was pretty impressive. And I don't have my kids do anything specific. I encourage them to do this, or I encourage them to do that, and be good kids. But they kind of follow my lead, and it was cool to see my son get in the ice bath this week.
Nice.
He's got some balls.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Dude, I've been doing cold showers for 6 months now. It's the best. I love them.
Yeah.
Chad, who's your babe of the week?
Dude, my babe of the week is actually a product. It's Alba Botanica shampoo and conditioner. I used to be an herbal essences guy, you know. That was my jam. You know, I thought I would do the revitalize. I mean, you have phenomenal hair, by the way, so I'm sure you know. I'd like to hear what you and JT. I'd like to hear what you use for your hair, for your flow. But I discovered I was visiting my dad, and my sister had Alba Botanica shampoo, and it's all natural. My hair smells like Hawaii. It's just like coconuts, you know. And I just put it in, and it just felt revitalized, you know. It's all natural, and I love it. And I was like, damn, if I feel like shampoo and conditioner has feminine energy, you know. And I'm like, if any kind of product could be a babe, it's shampoo and conditioner, and it's Alba Botanica. So what up, Alba Botanica? Thank you for making me smell like coconuts, and thank you for bringing the aloha spirit to my noggin.
Nice.
Nice, bro.
My babe of the week is Shakira.
Oh, yeah.
She's a singer from Colombia, where my mom's from. This is kind of a dual one because my mom's also the babe of the week. My mom was always on the Shakira train. Like when I was a little boy, my mom was like, this woman is going to be the biggest star in the world. And at that time, Shakira was doing more like a Spanish Alanis Morissette, like acoustic guitar music, and I just did not see it happening. But then, lo and behold, Shakira breaks into the American market with kind of a different style of more like dance folk music. And my mom was right. She saw it coming the whole time. Shakira was a international superstar. And then she really crystallized in my brain as like a total musical beast when she came out with Hips Don't Lie, which was actually a remake of a song from Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights, which a lot of people don't know, but the remake is so much better. And that song, Hips Don't Lie, was so infectious. Like when I started hearing it, I was like, dude, this is like undeniable. Like when you hear this song, you gotta move to it. And I just really respect Shakira's dance moves. I respect her persistence in the industry. I respect that she dated PK, a really good soccer player from Spain. And beyond that, I just really respect my mom, because whenever I see Shakira, I think about my mom and how funny and vital and expressive she is. And Mom, I love you. Keep bringing it every day. You don't ever leave anything on the table. You give it all. And yeah, you're a beast. And so yeah, Shakira, my mom, you're both babes. Go Colombia. Go Shakira. I hope you come out with Hips Don't Lie Part 2. And then my mom and I can boogie to it at a wedding or something.
That's what's up.
All right, who's your babe of the week?
So, babe of the week for me is my ex-wife. She is a good woman, and I'm so grateful for the kids that she helped me create. And even though she's a pain in the ass most of the time, I love her, and she's a good woman.
Dude, my babe of the week, I just broke up with my girlfriend. Yeah, I'd actually like to get into it. It's the same thing, because I do love her. We broke up, and it was amicable, and we were fighting too much, but she was amazing. Yeah. And I'm sad that it didn't work between us, but I know that she was good for me in my life and stuff like that, and I hope vice versa.
Yeah, that's part of the soul's journey that we were talking about earlier. You know, people come together to, you know, and they instigate certain things and feelings, and usually a heartbreak is a great thing for human beings, because then they can wake up to a different level. I know that's happened with a couple of relationships that I went through. And so, yeah, and I'm grateful for all my relationships, successful or failed, because they always teach me.
Yeah, I feel like heartbreak is always kind of a launching board to, if you...
Next level, baby.
Same with like failure. If you take it the right way, use it as a launching board to just raise yourself up to a whole, figure out a new side of yourself.
You're either living or learning.
Like 2 nights ago, I was just dancing at a club, and I was like so happy to be single, and I was just like having so much fun, and like just being on the floor and being loose and being free and not being obligated to anyone. And but then last night I went bowling with some of the boys.
Totally.
And last night when I was bowling, I was like, damn, I do wish she was here with me right now, and I could just give her a hug after a missed spare or something like that. Oh. Chad, who is your beef of the week?
My beef of the week is with, so I lived in Spain for about 9 months. I lived with a family, and I love them. They were the best. Shout out to Carmen, my host mom. But
What up, Carmen?
What up, Carmen? And but on my first night there, so they took me out. I lived in Zaragoza. I got there, and they just fed me gin and tonics the whole night, which was awesome. I had a great time. But I woke up super hungover, and you very quickly learn. They teach you Spanish in school, in like class, but then you go to a Spanish-speaking country, and you're like, I can't apply any of what I learned
For sure.
to what's going on right now. They're just talking. You're like, yo, tango, and they're like,
You're like looking for ways to like use the one word. You're like, is anyone gonna like? Can I say biblioteca to
yeah,
anybody?
dude.
Yeah.
I was looking for like any chance I could to say like, gato.
Yeah.
That's
you're-
like what I knew.
I hope there's a lot of conversations about cats because that's all I got.
Yeah. What's with conjugation? They're all just like, remember your conjugation? I'm like, what the fuck? So, anyways, so I wake up that morning super hungover, and and they come out. I come out, and it was a whole family, and they were just like, they're just talking in Spanish to me, and I was just like, I don't. And they're like, oh, tienes resaca, which is like you have a hangover, and then they're like, so what do you want for breakfast? And I was like, just hung. I was like, huevos, eggs, and they start laughing. They're like, huevos. This idiot, he wants eggs for breakfast. I'm like, what do you guys eat for breakfast? They're like, do you want melon? I'm like, sure. And they're like, do you want coffee? I'm like, yeah, I want coffee. And they're like, and then they start laughing at me again. They're like, this idiot wants melon and coffee for breakfast. You're fucking weird, dude. And I was just like, why are you guys clowning on me? I don't even know what's going on. You guys don't eat eggs for breakfast? So it's not really like I wasn't that pissed off, but it's more just like funny. But at the time I was just so hungover, and I was like, I was more of my beef is with the fact that they don't eat eggs for breakfast, I guess.
Yeah, they don't. Well, breakfast isn't big in Europe.
Yeah.
Like you get over there, it's like 10 in the morning. You're like, where can we get breakfast? Everyone's like, we don't eat breakfast.
Yeah.
They're like, we chill until the afternoon.
Which actually I do now. I do intermittent fasting as well, so I would be more on board with that now. But back then, I was the old. Plus, they'll eat like a fucking croissant. I'm like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah,
with
they
that?
eat small things.
Yeah. So that's just my beef, guys. Take it easy on the non-native speaker with his lack of breakfast knowledge.
Honestly, I think it's because like you're so handsome and fun.
Yeah.
That like they just instinctively wanted to have fun with you.
We did have fun. We lived above a pub, Flaherty's. So we got down there like, Flaherty's a su casa. I'm like, it is my
house,
home,
dude.
Yeah.
That's where you really live.
That's my gentle beef.
My beef is with IPAs.
Oh, dude, say it.
I'm tired of living a lie. IPAs suck. Everyone's like, oh, they got so many hops. They have such robust flavor. Literally every one of them tastes like shit. I have to like force it down. Then I have all these friends like evolving into mature beer drinkers. I don't understand it. I love booze, but I just like being drunk. Like no alcohol really tastes good to me. If I am going to drink beer, I just want it to be like Coors Light, like something kind of watery that goes down easy, that's perfect for drinking games. If I'm going to drink booze, I'm just going to do shots. But really, I don't want to, throw all of booze under the bus and just like overgeneralize. I'm really just here for the IPAs. They are terrible. All their fun, fancy names that sound like some Canadian football team. I'm not into it. And then they just, you drink it and like it tastes like a hangover and it makes you feel so bloated and like full. You're like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to eat for the next 2 days because I've got like 9,000 calories from this like beer that was made by a river rafting captain in Denver. No disrespect to that to river rafting or to boat captains, it's awesome. But the beers that they make are just they're a lie. They don't taste good.
All right.
Who's your beef?
So my beef is with fuck Monsanto.
Oh, yes.
Monsanto, which merged with Bayer recently, they have been putting Agent Orange technology into the food supply since about the 80s or so, but more importantly, since genetically modified organisms have come on the industrial commodity list. They have been fined $289 million. So the paradigm is shifting, and Monsanto's days are numbered, motherfuckers.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, we only have 6 minutes left. We have to get this one out because are you into drinking your own pee?
Yes, I have been practicing urine therapy, Shivambu, for about 15 years.
We buried the lead. So what does that entail?
So I drink the middle stream first thing in the morning when I wake up. So you pee a little bit out, and then you pee in the cup, and then you pee the rest out, and then you drink the cup. And so that has antibodies, amino acids, stem cells. And so all I can say, I've had great experiences with it. Topically, the aged urine is amazing for the skin. I just heard last night that Raquel Welch used to sleep with her urine on her face as well. And so, yeah, I can't advocate it for everyone because you have to get over the mental barrier. So, but it is an excellent tool in my my tool belt, and people love how fit I am at 52 and the health of my skin, etc. And so you commented on my hair, so that's all connected, and so our outer is a reflection of our inner.
Nice.
You guys aren't doing the hape.
Well, maybe after.
What do you experience when you take it? Is it like?
Why don't you tell us?
Is it psychedelic?
It's powerful, but I mean, it's not psychoactive. But if you put something as powerful as tobacco and rainforest plants up into the mucous membranes near the brain, you're going to have an experience. So, Chad, you're up, my friend. Oops.
How long does it last for?
Guys, we're going to skip the question. You're just going to listen to us do Hape. We'll be back with questions next week.
How long does it last for?
Couple minutes.
And then does it have like lasting effects?
Yeah, purgative effects. You got any tissue in here?
Here we go, people. Let's fucking do this shit.
What did I do? Just snort it?
Okay, say your prayers, bro. No, you just don't. You just sit there.
He's tapping Chad in different nerve points. It looks chest, shoulders, top of the head.
Look at me in the eye.
Chad looks a little nervous. He's blowing through the tube and blowing he just blew the powder into Chad's nose.
Whoa.
Is it fun?
It's very clearing and grounding.
Wait, should I do it, Chad? Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's finish up with the other side first.
No. Another side?
Because it works on both sides of the brain.
You got to do both sides, dog. So he has the wood instrument. He's going up Chad's other nostril. Chad initially said no. There he goes again. Should I do it, Chad?
Yeah.
Does it feel good?
Well, it's intense, but I think I like it.
You're not tripping out or anything?
No, it's just a lot. It's like, when stuff goes over your nose.
Yeah. Does it take a while for the effects to take place or no?
Instantaneously.
Oh, I'm stoked.
So jungle medicine usually hurts going in, but you feel amazing afterwards.
I do feel amazing.
I'm getting pretty amped now, dude. Let's
Yeah.
fucking rock and roll, dude.
Woo!
All right, here we go. The Parster's coming in for a little bit of a jungle medicine, people.
Marsha, take it to the dome.
Let's go, baby. Oh, man, I'm nervous.
Dude, you're going to love it.
Daddy likes to rock and roll, though.
Whoa.
Say your prayer, my brother. Look at me. Don't breathe. Don't breathe.
Oh, it's already up there. I stored it accidentally.
Hold on. Look at me. Get him some tissue.
The fuck, dude? Oh my god, what the fuck, dude? Oh man, that's intense. Jesus Christ.
Stay with the feeling.
No, I feel
Stay present.
I'm present. It feels good. It's just it's hard when shit just flies up your fucking nose at that speed. Sorry to cuss.
Stokers, I'm gonna give you a little update. I'm like super high energy right now. I feel,
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Sorry, we're almost done.
They use it.
Yeah.
They use it for hunting
really?
to clear the mind.
Wow.
Who?
Wow.
Yeah.
Who uses it?
The tribes.
The tribes. Just all of them.
The tribes.
Just all of them.
And look, the jungle is dying right now. The Amazon's being cut down, and so the plants are migrating all over the world. Ayahuasca, hape, cambo, bufo, all these plant medicines, iboga, they're being used all over the world to awaken humanity.
I'm a little dizzy.
Yeah, that's normal. So the idea is to stay present with it and not fight it.
Okay.
And
Oh, yeah, just
you
feel
do
it. Yeah.
you do both sides of it to harmonize the brain, the right and the left hemisphere of the brain.
I'm kind of freaking out now.
Yeah, you just sit back and breathe, and you'll be fine.
You all right?
I'm just scared.
Well, that's understandable. So go into the feeling of scared and go into the feeling of fear.
I'm afraid to die.
That's the core fear of all of us.
I'm very in touch with it.
JT, just sit back and just try and just relax. Right? Relax with
I'm
it.
sorry I'm being such a nerd, but
No, just be present with whatever you're feeling. It's okay to be scared.
I'm afraid to die. I've always felt like very afraid of dying and close to it. And then I had freakouts on drugs last year that brought me to like the edge, and they thought I had like damaged my heart from doing too much drugs and stuff. And so since then I've been like a hypochondriac of sorts. And I just I still party and I push the envelope, but I always feel like I'm kind of like in this weird like self-destructive pattern of like, I don't know, just like just being afraid of my fear, and then so I just attack it, but it doesn't quell the fear. Do I need to do my other nostril?
Yeah, I recommend doing it. And, the jungle tools are exactly for that. They're to help us connect to the deeper parts of ourselves.
This has never killed anyone though.
No.
Chad's like, no.
Well, he just shook his head, so I just wanted to clarify. He said no.
Oh, that's true. You gotta let the stokers know. All right, should I hit the other nostril?
Yeah.
Is it gonna trip me out more? Like, does the up in the dosage? Whatever. Fuck it. Let's go.
My recommendation is just to feel what you're feeling and be honest with yourself. It has the ability to clear out not only the nasal passages, but also the emotional body and the mental body.
I love you, Dad.
This goes right to the brain.
I love you, Dad and Mom, and my brother Chris, and my ex Blair. I love you guys all.
So if we're holding on to any kind of
I love you too,
negativity,
Chad.
Love you too.
I love you, dog.
I love you, JT.
I love you, man. What's your? I forgot your name.
Troy.
Troy. I knew it was Troy or Casey.
So if we're holding on to any mental concepts that are holding us back, this has the ability to release that.
Well, I think I'm also a control freak. I think I try to intellectualize everything and control it through my, I think through my thinking and words I can control everything.
And jungle medicine is to let you know that you're not in control. There's something deeper. You guys asked me about the spiritual component. There is a deeper spiritual component that is in control. And so, okay. You got something for him to spit in?
Feels like I'm asphyxiating. Oh man.
Don't swallow it either.
Where do people get this?
So my friend Alex, who travels back and forth and works with the tribes in Colombia, he has it.
Man,
right
I'm
now.
crying.
The Ecuadorian shaman, they use a tobacco called Sank, which is water-based, and this is Hape, which is just straight tobacco.
Well, thank you for taking us on this journey, man. I really appreciate you for showing this to us. How often do you do it?
Maybe once a week, or sometimes it depends on who I'm working with.
Fuck, man. Yeah, this shit ain't no joke.
All right, guys, this is episode 34 of the Going Deep with Chat JT podcast.
I love you, Stokers.
Check out Troy's Instagram, Certified Health Nut,
I love
at
you guys.
Certified Health Nut, and signing out. Thank you, guys.
I'm glad to be alive, guys, and you should be too. It's a glorious journey we get to go on. And make sure you tell the people that you love them.
If you need advice, these guys are really